An example of how we will feel stress in our lives, which I heard the other day and I'd like to share, is a story of a lobster. A lobster grows, and when it gets to a certain size, it needs to crawl out of its shell and create a new shell. And it does this by feeling the pressure of the shell becoming too small. So it crawls underneath a rock and it sheds its shell, grows a new shell. And then the lobster gets too big for that shell. So it feels the pressure of being inside this restricting shell. And so it goes back under the rock, sheds that shell, and grows a new shell. And it repeats this process. This shows that stress and pressure are motivating factors that lead to growth. What we've been taught is that stress and pressure are things that we should avoid and, in a lot of cases, medicate. So if the lobster was feeling the stress and the pressure of its shell and it went and started to take Xanax, it wouldn't understand that it needs to release itself from its old shell. It would constantly live in this state of pressure and stress, but it would be medicated to not feel that. Stress and pressure are natural feelings in life, and we're supposed to feel them because ultimately it leads to growth. But in the times of stress and pressure, we haven't been taught to breathe, stay calm, and work through them. We tend to make panicky decisions and become manic. So please check out the meditation series if you're interested in learning a little bit more, and try the practice for yourself. Anybody can tell you that this is good for you and that's good for you, but physically doing the practices for yourself and then seeing the positive results in everyday life is something that I can attest to, which is why I'm now passionate about teaching meditation to people and teaching about breath work and staying calm in stressful situations, because stress is inevitable. It leads to growth. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. I wanted to add to this video just a quick example from my own life, and that is my business. I started a business that I operated for 2 years, and the business became my shell. It was the cause of stress and pressure, and I was unaware of this for a period of time. And during that period of time, because of my unawareness, I was self-medicating the stress and pressure with marijuana and sometimes alcohol. And it wasn't until I recognized this and I recognized the stress and the source of the stress, which was my business, and I decided to move away from that I could get rid of these medications I was using. And from that, the growth came. Personal growth and freedom. I became a prisoner to my own business. And in society, there are lots of things that are pushed at us that are causes of stress, which can become so overwhelming that it's hard to get away from. Jobs, mortgages, debt is a big one. The banks push debt on people, and it's why a lot of times people get into the 40s, and because they don't have awareness of the stress, or that they're medicating and self-medicating the stress, they can have what's called a mid-life crisis, which is when this stress just becomes too unbearable, too big to medicate, and it leads to a complete breakdown of the system. Our system and our society is designed for these kinds of breakdowns. A few people will get rich and will attain all of the assets, while the majority of the people have to grind it out and work and live in this stress of trying to survive in our current system and our current way of doing things in society. I wanted to give you that example. Thanks for listening. Catch me in the next video where I talk a little bit about society and my experience of accidentally joining a cult and how I noticed a lot of similarities from the cult and the cult members to society and members of society. Thanks for listening. Catch you in the next one.